So I'm just going to start recording and we can just start. So this is Jonathan Miller, Wave. We're setting up, we planned this like what, a couple hours ago? Maybe yesterday? I don't remember anymore. I don't even know what day it is. But
it's Wednesday.
And
July 12th.
We're here to promote your appearance at, where are you going again?
Greater Austin Comic-Con.
Is it in Austin?
It is in North Austin.
Okay.
It's a suburb of Austin. Like, I think it's Cedar Hill.
Okay.
I believe. Yeah, Cedar Hill.
Okay, so it's around Austin. Yeah. Called Greater Austin Comic Con. Mm-hmm. And you'll be in the Artist Alley at booth 95.
I believe it's in the center aisle towards the back of the convention hall.
Okay, cool.
Table 95.
And what we want to talk about today is because we did this Double or Nothing piece. I'll try to pull up the video or the image when this comes up. And so this is based on the match that Cody and his brother had.
Right.
Who now goes by Dustin.
It is Dustin Rhodes. The natural Dustin Rhodes.
That was what he was when he was with his tagging with his father?
Yeah,
Dusty?
It was way back. Like
when he first started out? Mm-hmm. Something like that?
Yep. WCW might even be pre-WCW days.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, way back.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we did this piece as a kind of, it started like a promo piece because we started it before the event at AEW's Double or Nothing.
Yeah, it's, we saw the promo. We saw the promos, I should say.
They were back to back.
They were. I watched the Dustin one first, and then I watched the Cody promo.
Yeah, I think that's the order they came out in. And Dustin is just kind of like, came out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, he just... Were there any inklings that he was leaving?
I think prior to them announcing him as Cody's opponent, I had no idea.
I saw a bit on Road to Double or Nothing where he's like, the gold will be good. Like, for his costume. Like, considering your opponent kind of stuff. So I was like, I heard rumblings, but I kept hearing that Goldust was happy. Or not happy, but he's staying. He's not going anywhere. And then all of a sudden, this Dustin promo came out of nowhere on his ranch or someone's ranch.
Yeah. And he's just like out in the middle of the country. And
we were like, what is going on here?
And I remember it was either on Being the Elite or it was on the Nightmare Family channel.
Yeah, Nightmare Family.
It was Nightmare Family on YouTube. And I remember seeing that promo and thinking, oh my gosh. They got Goldust. He's not Goldust anymore.
They got Dustin.
He's Dustin.
Yeah.
They're going to play up this whole... I guess it was a sibling rivalry I thought that they were going to play up. But then when you start listen to the promo, that's not what it's about, it didn't feel like.
If I remember correctly, it felt like Dustin's promo was more about that. Like, okay, they're going to do what they could have done in WWE.
What they should have been allowed to do.
Yeah.
Rather.
So, like, it was a match that everybody kind of wanted, or really wanted to, like, happen. But it never really did. It's been a minute since I saw the promo. But then Cody comes out, like, fairly soon after that with his promo.
Holy crap, dude.
And then it became, like, this, I love my brother, but he represents something I need to get rid of.
There was so much emotion in Cody's promo, and his delivery of that promo was top-notch. Like...
It was so good.
The setting, the ambiance, like low lighting. He comes in from the shadows. Yeah. He walks forward into the light. He starts talking about his brother and how he loves his brother. And he talks about the Attitude Era. He's directly referencing something that, like, a lot of us really hold dear, is like this perfect era in pro wrestling.
It was probably the biggest era.
Yeah,
like the most ratings, like just for rating numbers alone, it was. For WCW and WWF, it was
peak wrestling in general. Those were the times, man. That was it. And then now, a lot of people just aren't plugged into wrestling anymore.
It fell out. Like, well, there's other brands that have similar issues where they have not enough superstars, like not enough star power to. Everyone left. All the big ones from that Attitude Era, like, left. Like, either had to retire or they crossed over and then retired.
So, yeah, in that promo, though, Cody challenges our nostalgia, like, rose-tinted glasses of looking into the past and says, hey, is that really so much better than what's going on now with wrestling, or even in the last decade?
It was really good. It was really good to like tie it to the promotion, like how they like it became not as like super personal, but personal in that he now has the opportunity to do something and do things that they couldn't do before because of the system they were in.
The feeling of being limited in your creativity.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of creative people can relate to that too. I think I can relate to that. I know that you can.
Yeah. So we saw these 2 promos and we were just like, we have to do something.
I was pumped.
Yeah, it was amazing.
So we talked about before, like, doing some more wrestling art. Len and I would both have this really crazy love of wrestling, and if you go to these conventions, like comic conventions and anime conventions, and you walk the artist alley section of the convention, you don't see a whole lot of wrestling art. I know Jose Esquivel. He's got wrestling art. Francisco Salinas has some.
Okay.
John David Guerra, South Texas, he's got some. John David Guerra has that comic, The Nightmare Pro.
Oh, okay.
Good. It's few and far between do I see the wrestling fan art. And when I do, I think, man, that's a need. Like, not a lot of us are supplying that. Maybe we should get into that. And I talked to you about that too.
Well, I think now the for what we do, the fan base is growing. So there's like and I think there's always been an audience, like especially for the old, like for the Attitude Era. Everyone I talk to who is a fan of pro wrestling was a fan during the Attitude Era, because that's what was the biggest. Like everyone had a Stone Cold shirt, like the 316 was everywhere.
You couldn't go to a high school lunchroom in the year 1996 through 2000 and sit there and not hear someone talking about what happened on Monday night.
Yeah, or a DX shirt, or all their shirts. Like, there's so many. And so we started doing this promo piece, one for this match. And it was... So we picked a Vegas theme because it's Double or Nothing. It's in Vegas. It's a big gamble. So we went back and you researched vintage playing cards, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Like something old-timey, something kind of like...
Well, you know, you see on a vintage playing card, especially like the face cards, the old-timey ones, it's got up top, it'll have whichever, either king or jack or queen or whatever, and then at the bottom, it's like a mirrored version of that same, like, jack, just flipped upside down. So I wanted to do something like a playing card, and I wanted it to have that symmetry. I wanted it to have that look, at least with the quality of the line art. I wanted it to feel like line art, and I wanted it to very clearly, when you looked at it, I want people to think, oh, that looks like a playing card, because it is. So those were the rules I had in mind for myself when we talked about doing this. I was like, yeah, let's do something, because everything that Cody and the Bucks have done since All In, it's all had sort of a gambling thing. Like, it was, All In was gambling. Well, Double or Nothing is gambling again.
It started as a bet.
Yeah.
It started as a bet with Meltzer, the reporter guy. That's where it all started. So it kind of drove the theme home. We talked about like putting on a table with like dice, but we decided on just doing the card.
Yeah, we reined it back in from like a really broad idea to a very focused. Yeah. Just the playing card.
Just on the card. And so you penciled it out. I remember you had a lot of struggle with the symmetry.
Well, the symmetry, because if you, like, when you're looking on Google and you're just trying to find, like, side profile images of Gold Dust or Dustin, you can't find
for reference.
A whole lot of reference. There's not a whole lot of reference for side profile pictures of wrestlers just standing up straight looking forward. You can find it for days if you look up like UFC fights or anything. Oh yeah, because they do that face to face sort of thing all the time. But when it came to Dustin Rhodes and Cody Rhodes, I had to really like get down to like the third or fourth page of Google Images to find something that I could look at, and I was like, that's the shape of Dustin's head. Yeah. Or that's the shape of Cody's head.
That's the worst part of it, trying to get a likeness down. If you're off by just a bit, you're like, that looks weird.
And people, like, especially fans...
Yeah, they'll know.
We'll know. Yeah, we'll look at it. We'll know. We'll say, oh, Goldust's head doesn't do that. or Cody's head doesn't do that.
You have to be very particular about it.
Right. So, and the other struggle that I had with Dustin was that I only had one or two shots from his promo
Yeah.
of him in the red face paint. So it was really like, okay, how would this look from a side view? And so I tried to guess at what that was going to look like. And then for his actual his ring gear, I didn't know what he was going to do.
Yeah, we didn't know. It was way early.
Because all that stuff was a surprise when it happened, you know? So that was the part. And then, like, the symmetry was a little bit of a struggle. But I found that, like, the more I blew it up... And then you mentioned the idea of bringing the banner in and putting the banner right between them.
Yeah, just to, like, break it up a bit.
And it broke it up, and it provided that symmetry. It added to the symmetry. It created the negative space where we needed it. I was able to move Gold Dust or Dustin to the right a little bit and like bring Cody to the left a little bit, and it looked just right.
It you can use those elements to help hide things and fix things without like, technically it's not right, but it works enough if you fill in the right spaces and things like that. Mm-hmm. And so you did all that digitally.
Yeah, so I was working on my iPad. I was using Procreate. I laid everything out digitally, and then when I got to a certain point, I started inking digitally. But then I was like, no, this needs a good inker, like someone who can get this on actual paper. I felt like this piece needed like something traditional. It needed like something physical and real.
Well, that was part of our goal anyways, to make some traditional pieces.
Yeah.
You sent me the blue lines, and my process is I think I worked on the banner a bit. I moved things around a little bit, and then I erased some lines because I knew I was gonna do that in the inks. So I didn't need something. It's like I needed something not there for a sec. I printed it out, and then so your pencils are so clean, and the details in the face was so particular. I couldn't mess it up. So it took a hot minute to get through that, and then I did the banner. It wasn't so bad, and the lettering took a minute. Like, it's not the cleanest I've ever seen. But
no, I really loved the lettering on the banner. I felt like that was a really strong point of the piece. Like, and especially the idea of like double being right side up and nothing being flipped upside down. If you were to take this piece and hang it right side up or upside down, there is no right side up. There is no upside down. Either way, it works just fine.
That took a minute to get all clean. And then usually when I ink things, I always have this like backup plan in my head that's like, oh, if I screw up, I can just do it again. But all this work I put into it, I was like, I don't want to do this again. And then did I tell you I dropped my brush on this one? I was inking it. I did the same thing with my Finn Balor piece, and I dropped my brush. But I was lucky. I was early in the process. But I dropped my brush, and it kind of like rolled across the paper. And I had inked Cody and Dustin and the banner, and I was working on the lettering, I believe. And I was like, god damn. I was like, fuck it. It'll look fine. I'll white over it, and then we'll move on with it. And then I finished inking it, and I did the splatter, which took me a minute to figure out how to do. Use my trusty toothbrush I had since high school. And then the blood, because this is after I started inking after we saw the match. The match happened.
Oh yeah.
And then we were like, holy shit.
Well, like I was gonna say, didn't you do the gold first, or was that after?
I don't recall.
So I remember we talked about adding gold to it, and then we saw the match.
Because there were some other things we were debating on what to do in the background, and then we asked some of your actual wrestler friends. It's like, what do you guys think? It's like, no, it gotta be polka dots and gold.
Jamie Aller, thank you for those suggestions.
So I was like, okay, we can do this. And then the match happened, and it was a
absolute bloodbath. It was a callback to really old school.
Yeah. When
they could get away with having a bloodbath at a pay-per-view.
Like, it's at least close to a 1 on the Muda scale. Like, it was a lot. Like,
on a scale of 1 to Muda, how bloody was this?
Oh, I think Muda's a 1, if you're technically looking at it. I just remember when Dustin lifts his head up, and it's just streaming from his forehead.
Oh, yeah, there was a point where he was, like, about to get up off the mat, and there was a close-up shot, and it was just, like...
a line of blood.
A straight stream coming off of his brow.
Just gushing from his head. And I was like... oh my god. And then Cody was wearing all white, so it just made this brilliant kind of thing. And so that happened.
It got into Cody's hair.
His hair was pink.
I
was like, oh my god, this is crazy. And then, so I had the ink piece, the piece inked, and then I had to figure out how to do the blood. And I just kept, I was like, if I mess up, I have to redo this thing. I don't want to redo it. And so I tested on some pieces of paper. I got like the consistency I wanted. And then I just covered up the banner, and I covered up Cody, and then I just had my dripper of ink, and I just kind of held it up. About where the head was, Dustin's head was, I just dropped it. And then it didn't quite splatter the way I wanted.
That's got to be nerve-wracking.
It's so nerve-wracking. Then you just... I just had to realize, just do it. And then you can make it work afterwards. Mm-hmm. So I dripped it, and then Ruby helped me figure out what else to do with fix it. I realized that's my style. I mess things up, then I fix it. So added more highlights, re-inked some of the head, add some more purple, because he just disappeared in the red. I just wanted, as we look at it, there's a little bit of purple around the outside of his head just to give the background more definition. So his head just kind of pops out a little bit more. Add a couple more white highlights, and then I think that was it. I called it a point where it was done. But yeah, it was fun. It was neat.
Yeah, I won't forget the first time I saw the finished piece.
I kept sending you
pictures of it while you're working on it, and then when I saw the overall finished piece, I was like, "Holy crap, dude! This is strong." The idea before was a great idea, but that blood, that splatter of red ink right there, really took it over the top for me. I felt like it was the perfect piece after that.
I had to dial it back in my head. I was like, "Do I?" That took me a while to do that part of it because I kept debating in my head. It's like, do I just dump the bottle on this thing? Just drench it. I was really tempted.
With how much blood was in that match, it wouldn't have been. Yeah. It wouldn't have disqualified. That's for sure.
Because I've done things where I'll ink my hand up and I'll leave fingerprints all over my stuff. I'll paint. I painted my face one time and pressed it against the paper to leave a face print on something.
Interesting.
I gotta get textural.
That's part of art. That's part of art where you're just experimenting with what you could do to make something happen.
Just to make it work out.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, that was nerve-wracking. Maybe do another one, I think. I may ink it out and then buy a new bottle of ink and just flood it.
Call it the red edition.
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah. Just dump it all out there. So,
I'm going to Greater Austin this weekend. I'm going to show the piece to Dustin. Try to get his reaction.
That'd be cool. I really, it'd be neat to see what they think.
I do want to know what he thinks.
It's such a good match.
Yeah.
It told a great story, which is why I loved it. And the best part about it is that it was just 2 promos. They
didn't have to do a whole lot.
Yeah.
Because it's true. They had a built-in story of brother versus brother, but they really took it in a different direction all entirely. It's generation against generation.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's a smart thing to do because it takes people's expectations of what you're trying to make the match be, and it spins it a little bit.
And it's interesting, and he's staying. I thought it was a retirement match, and this is gonna be it. And so yeah, there's more. The best part is, to me, I was thinking about this earlier, I don't even think this is Dustin's final form.
He is just improved.
The outfit is it's Goldust, but not. There's parts of Dustin is an evolution of who he was before. Mm-hmm. And I think there's gonna be one more segment, and then somewhere down the line we're gonna see the final part of it. His story from start to finish. You're gonna be at Austin.
Greater Austin Comic Con this weekend.
And you're at booth 95.
Table 95, yep.
Somewhere in the back middle from the entrance.
One of the center aisles on the inside towards the back.
So you're going to have this Double or Nothing piece.
Uh-huh.
I think I'll also give you my Finn Balor piece.
That's right.
Show it up right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then quick shout out to Jose, who's going to be at Heroes Con this weekend, June 14th to 16th. And he is at booth 2205. It looks to be on, when you look in the entrance, to the right in the artist alley. He should have a couple of his wrestling pieces. I know he's working on a G1 piece.
Oh, yeah.
For 2019.
I saw the pencils for that.
Yeah. That's going to be fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's got a couple good ones. One of his got bought by...
last year at the wrestling show, right?
It was bought by Joey Ryan for Cody, because it was of Cody.
Yeah, right. So Jose had this piece up. We did a wrestling art show at a gallery.
Somehow Joey Ryan was just in town?
Well, no, he was booked for Metroplex Wrestling down the street.
Okay, that makes sense.
And they brought him into the wrestling art show, and he was walking around. He saw the piece with Cody, and I guess that he talked to Cody about it, or Cody wanted it, and so Joey Ryan sent word back to me. I sent word to Jose, and they cut a deal for it. So there are pictures of Joey Ryan with with Jose's art right over his crotch, laying on a couch, a really dirty, grungy couch. And
it's a Joey Ryan couch, right?
It's a Metroplex wrestling couch.
Oh, even better.
It's like they have these couches on one side of the room. They call it the living room area.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that.
So yeah, that was a funny thing because we laughed about that for a while.
It's cool.
There's this dirty picture with Joey Ryan, and it looks like he's not wearing anything at all.
Yeah,
because the piece is covering up his piece.
There you go. Sounds good, of course. Jonathan, Great Austin Comic Con, booth 95 in the back. Come check it out. And stop. If I can get the mouse.